let's talk Radiohead. They are on the list of possible inductees into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know, the announcement of nominees were made. Radiohead, Rage Against the Machine, Nina Simone, Depeche Mode, Judas Priest. The field is incredible. I think 19 nominees in total. The Eurythmics, Dire Straits, Jay Giles, Bon Jovi, The Cars, the Zombies are still on there. The Meters, LL Cool J, MC5. There's a lot. There's a lot of nominees on the list. But what I find interesting is Radiohead. If you look at all the articles that were printed, Radiohead was like every article. Radiohead and Nina Simone nominated for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Radiohead and Rage Against the Machine nominated for Rock and Roll. Depeche Mode and Radiohead nominated for Rock and Roll. You know, every article. And it made me feel like Radiohead was almost a shoo-in to get in their first year of eligibility. Now, it's not uncommon. You look at the 90s, and we're getting into that time period because that's now is when the 90s are, it's 2017, 25 years, whatever it is. Now all these acts are now eligible to go in, and first ballot Hall of Famers have been plentiful in the last couple of years. Nirvana went in first ballot Hall of Fame 2 years ago. Pearl Jam last year. You know what I'm saying? So a Radiohead first year entry into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, totally possible. In fact, I even came on the air when it happened at the time, and I said, I think Radiohead is in for sure. Who they're going to choose out of the rest of them is up to anybody's guess. But look at what Radiohead has done in their career. And they're part of that 94, that 92, 93, 94, 95 lexicon of rock music that reemerged and changed the world, mostly led by Nirvana and Pearl Jam, of course. But amongst those other bands that were in the mix, your Soundgardens, your Radiohead's on the list this year. I think they're going to be in. At the time they were doing press, Radiohead said that they didn't really care about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This is what they said at the time. Johnny Greenwood, in an interview with Rolling Stone magazine, was asked about the impending enshrinement. He said, quote, "I don't care." Ed O'Brien added, "I don't want to be rude about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because for a lot of people it means something. But culturally, I don't understand it. I think it might be a quintessential American thing." Laying it down. I mean, it's a great honor. And by the way, a respectful little comment from Ed there to be like, look, I get that it means something to a lot of people, but I just don't get it. Last person that I could really remember to not go into the Rock and Roll, to not attend the ceremony was Axl Rose. Axl Rose was like, I'm not going to that. And he didn't. And by the way, and a lot of people forget this, but he wrote a letter of apology later on. Like, he was really sorry. I get standing up against the man, against, the machine or whatever you want to call it, But and I think in these scenarios, like, your fans are the ones who tend to get hurt. Your fans want to see you go in. It's as much an honor for them as it is for you. Now, it doesn't mean anything for Radiohead, and that's fine. But the question then had become after those comments, like, would Radiohead go? Would they go if they were, because everybody can talk, trash about it ahead of time. When push comes to shove, when it's actually decided if you're going in or not, what are you going to do? Well, Radiohead didn't even let it get to that because we talked about this the other day that they were possibly announcing a South American tour. And I said, it's exciting because I don't expect most of us to fly down to South America to go see Radiohead. I mean, maybe a couple of you guys are nut jobs, but still, but I said it's exciting because if they're going to do South America, odds are they're going to have a North American leg, so it'll be great. Maybe we'll get a North American Radiohead tour. That'll be fun. As it turns out, it's become an even bigger story because part of this announcement, which, by the way, has been confirmed, they're going to do South America. They're going to perform at Buenos Aires, Argentina on April 14th. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony is April 14th. So they are absolutely not going. Now, you might be thinking what I was thinking when I was first hearing this news or first seeing this news, that, well, they could always cancel. If they were to get in, they could always cancel, reschedule, do it the next night or put it at the end of the South American leg or whatever it is. Nope. Paste Magazine inquired, And a representative for the band said they are not going. So whether they go in or not, or whether they're inducted or not, Radiohead will not be in attendance. They are putting their foot down in a, tried and true indie rock anti-establishment move. Radiohead will absolutely, in no way, shape, or form, be at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony this year. Curious to know what you think about that. Would love to hear the comments. But it's interesting. If they do get in, they're not going to go. What does the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame do? Now, it's one thing when Axl didn't show, because if memory serves me correctly, the rest of the band went. Guns N' Roses was still there. What if nobody shows? I don't know if I've ever really seen that in the last few years for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's kind of a gangster move. It's hardcore. It's a hardcore move on the part of Radiohead. It really is. They are sticking by their statement. What if they don't get nominated this year? Are they going to feel this way next year? What if they find out that all their fans are super upset about them not going? Would they go back in next year? And I'm not exactly sure about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but again, it's not like we're electing, a president or a congressperson here in the United States of America. It's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's not like there's an oversight committee. If they're hearing about this and most of the votes are having them in, would they hold them back a year? It doesn't mean anything to them. They're not really hurting their feelings. Feels kind of dishonest to do that, but I wonder if they internally would do that. If they would say, well, if they don't want to come, we'll hold them back. We'll give the honor to somebody else who's just, If it's down to Bon Jovi and Radiohead's ahead by like 3 votes and they don't care, would they hold back the 3 votes to put Bon Jovi in? Is that even right to do that? I don't even know. I'm kind of a little flabbergasted that Radiohead is going at it so hard here, but they are. They're staying true to themselves, which is certainly respectable. Your thoughts on Radiohead? Let me know in the comments.